Okay, great afternoon. I had one other thing I wanted to address on the transgender issues, etc. Now, recently I've seen some videos of people that went through the transition, had their surgery, and then they said, I'll never be a real woman. I'm always going to be a trans woman. And I'm looking at that going, what do they mean they will always be a trans woman? They will never be a real woman. I was told I was going to be a real woman, but I'll never be a real woman. Okay. So let me break down what I think is happening. Now, I could be totally wrong. And if I am, and there's somebody out there that's transitioned and is going through this and I am wrong, I would like to hear what's going on so that I can understand more. Okay? So I'm wondering if there was not this idea that when there was the transition, that they had fantasies of getting married and having a big family, etc. Well, okay, now one thing I see is possibly you may have to take hormones the rest of your life. There are cis women that have to take hormones for one reason or another. Is it because you will never have a womb, you'll never have a uterus, you'll never be able to birth a child? Okay, was that the fantasy, to birth a child? Well, there are cis women that will never be able to birth a child. Okay? There are cis women, I'll tell you in my own life, at 27 years of age, they told me that I had cervical cancer. They had to do a hysterectomy, and they took the uterus out. And so I will never have another child, etc. And then found out at the end that there was nothing wrong with the uterus. Totally healthy. Okay? So I, have not had a uterus since I was younger. There are cis women that have hysterectomies, and some at a younger age. Does that mean they're less? Because you don't have a uterus, does it mean you're less? Okay. The other thing that I'm thinking also is when you have the surgery, I understand that things are really tight and you have to stretch everything and you have to do that dilation, and that can be very painful. Okay? Well, maybe it will never be, where you think it should be large enough, stretched enough inside. Okay, let's put it that way. Because again, when they made it, they made the vagina and they closed it off at the end because there's no uterus. Okay, so it's closed off. Well, mine's closed off too, at the end. And also, when I had my son, he was breech. Not feet first, he wanted to come out butt first. And that's been his view of the world. Kiss my, okay. He's always been that way. But when I went in to have him in very difficult labor, they waited too long. They should have done done the cut and taken him out. It was too late. Okay. So what they did was they ripped me open, and I had over 100 stitches afterwards inside the birth canal. Okay. So after that, everything was, really tight, and it's always had, difficulties with the nerve endings there because the whole thing was cut. Same thing, they sewed me up like this, 100 stitches, and yeah. Does that make me less of a woman? Or because you have a vagina that was constructed, does it make you less of a woman? So I don't get this ideology that I'm trans and I'll never be a real woman. They told me I would be a real woman and I'm not a real woman. So what makes you not a real woman? Okay? What makes you not a real woman? Everything I can come up with, I see there are cis women that would deal with the same type of thing. Does that make them not a cis woman? So if I'm missing something, I'd really like to know, because this is something I've racked my head with to try to come up with. Why it's said that I'll always be a trans woman. Is it because you have to say I cannot have children? Okay? I don't have a uterus. Again, cis women, some of them have had to have a hysterectomy. Okay? So if I am missing something, please let me know. Now, I know people may have this ideology if they want to get married and they want to, be with somebody, but they meet a guy and he wants children, etc. You can't have children. Well, let me tell you about my daughter. Just got married at the age of 40. Why? She didn't want children, okay? She didn't want children, and I said, that's fine. Not everyone is meant to be a parent. Now, she would date guys that wanted children. So she gave in to that. Somebody would be very unhappy. Thank God she held out and found somebody that had already had children, was done with that, did not want any more children, and they have a very happy marriage. Okay? I don't think everyone is meant to be a parent. And if you cannot physically have children, there are some women that go through in vitro fertilization and they never get pregnant. Okay? Could be something just wrong with their makeup, the difficulties there. Okay? Doesn't make them less of a woman. So yeah, can always adopt. But, if I'm missing something, please let me know. Or if you are somebody's going through the procedure and other people in the community that have voiced this to you, what have they said? Because those are the only things I can come up with. Now, admittedly, I'm not a trans woman, okay? So maybe I am missing something. But I have looked at this from every aspect that I can. And, I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay. Or is it this ideology that I was born a male, so I have to tell them that I've had a transition? Is that what it is? Your history? Okay. What met Lily? Here she comes. I don't know what you're buttering me up for this time, Miss Lily. But, this is something I would like to understand, because I've seen a few people on there that are going through this and in such turmoil after going through all the difficulty of the surgery and everything, and then having that perspective that I'll never be a real woman. I was told I would be a real woman, but I'll never be a real woman. That's tragic to hear. So yeah, if there's somebody that can weigh in on this, I would appreciate it. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you online.